I was already on a call, and my phone started ringing again. From my own number. If you're watching this alone, you might want to turn the lights on. I live alone. No roommates. No shared devices. And there is no possible way for me to call myself. That's what I thought, before last week. This started about 5 nights ago. Nothing dramatic at first. Just one small thing that didn't make sense. I was on a call with my friend around 2:06 a.m. We were just talking, nothing serious. Late night random conversation. Then suddenly, my phone vibrated. Incoming call. I checked the screen and immediately felt something off. The caller ID was my own number. Same exact number, no difference. No extra digit. I frowned and showed it to my friend on video. "Bro, I think my phone's glitching." He laughed. Told me to accept it. I didn't. I declined the call. The vibration stopped. Everything went back to normal. We continued talking for another 20 minutes. Nothing else happened. I forgot about it until the next night. Same time, 2:06 a.m. I was alone this time, scrolling on my phone in bed. Then, vibration, incoming call. I already knew what I was going to see. My own number. This time I didn't decline it immediately. I just stared at it. The call screen looked normal, but something about it felt wrong. The contact name wasn't saved, just the number. And the ringtone. It wasn't my ringtone. It was slower, distorted, like the same sound, but stretched. I accepted the call, and instantly, there was breathing. Not loud, not aggressive, just slow, close, right next to the microphone. I didn't say anything. I just listened for about 5 seconds. Then, I heard something else. A voice, my voice, saying, "Don't hang up." I froze. I didn't speak. I didn't react. The voice came again, same tone, same exact way I talk. "You're not alone." I immediately ended the call. My hands were shaking. I checked the call log. Nothing. No incoming call. No record, like it never happened. The next day I told myself it was a glitch. Maybe some weird network issue. But that night, I didn't sleep early. I stayed awake, waiting. At 2:06 a.m., the call came again. This time, before I even touched the phone, it answered automatically. I didn't press anything. The call connected on its own. The screen changed, and I heard it again. Breathing, closer this time. Then, my voice. But not normal, distorted. "Look behind you." I didn't move. I refused to. The voice repeated it, slower. "Look behind you." I shut my eyes. Didn't turn. Didn't check. Then, the call ended. Silence. I stayed like that for a full minute. Then slowly, I turned around. Nothing. Empty room. But something felt different. Like I had just barely missed something. After that, it became a routine. Every night. Same time. 2:06 a.m. The call. And every time, the voice knew more. It started saying things I hadn't told anyone. Private things. Thoughts. Memories. Then it started describing things happening in real time. One night it said, "You're sitting on the edge of the bed." I was, "Another night. Your door isn't locked." I checked. It wasn't. I always lock it. Always. Then came the night I couldn't ignore anymore. I was already on a call. With my friend again. Same time. And then, my phone started ringing. Again. From my own number. While I was already on the call. I showed him. This time, he didn't laugh. He just said, "Answer it." I hesitated, then tapped accept. For a split second, everything went silent. Both calls. No sound at all. Then, from the second call, we both heard it. My voice. "Clear. He's right behind you." My friend yelled, "Turn around." I didn't. I couldn't. I was frozen. Then, the call ended. Both of them. At the same time. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't move. Didn't even leave my room. The next morning, I checked my phone again. Call logs. Empty. No trace. Nothing. But there was something new. A voice recording. Saved automatically. Timestamp. 2:06 a.m. I didn't want to play it, but I did. The recording starts with silence. Then, footsteps inside my room. Slow, moving, then stopping, right behind me. And finally, my voice, whispering, "Next time, turn around." My supervisor asked why I entered the building at 2:14 a.m. I told him I never left. If you're watching this alone, you might want to turn the lights on. This happened during my first week, working night security at a warehouse on the edge of town. No coworkers at night, no cameras inside the storage floors. Just me, a radio, and a log sheet I had to fill every hour. At first, it was the easiest job I'd ever had, until the logs started writing things I never did. My shift was from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Every hour I had to patrol the building and log. Time, location. Anything unusual? Pretty simple. The first few nights were completely normal. Quiet, empty, boring. The warehouse had 3 main sections: front office, storage floor, loading dock. The storage floor was the worst part. No windows, no lights except emergency strips. Endless shelves stacked high. Even during the day, it felt off. At night, it felt worse. On my 4th night, something small happened. At 1 a.m., I finished my patrol and wrote, "Unsettling, all clear." Nothing unusual. At 2 a.m., I got up again to do the next round. Before leaving, I glanced at the log sheet, and something didn't make sense. There was already an entry for 2:14 a.m. I hadn't even left yet. The handwriting was mine. Exactly mine. The entry said, 2:14 a.m., entered through rear door. I just stared at it, trying to remember if I had written it earlier. But I hadn't. The time didn't even match. It was still 2:03 a.m. I scratched it out and ignored it. Told myself I must have messed up. Then I started my patrol. Everything felt normal, until I reached the loading dock. The rear door was slightly open. That never happens. I always check it, always lock it. I walked over slowly and pushed it shut.
Check the lock.
It clicked. Then I noticed something else. The floor near the door had footprints. Not muddy, not dusty, just darker than the rest, like something had been walking in the same pattern repeatedly. In and out, in and out. I didn't like that, but I finished my patrol anyway. When I got back to the office, I checked the time, 2:16 a.m. I looked at the log sheet again. The entry I scratched out was back, clear, untouched. 2:14 a.m., entered through rear door. My stomach dropped. I checked the pen, same one I was using. I didn't write it, but it was written. The next night I came prepared. I took a photo of the blank log sheet at the start of my shift. No future entries, nothing weird. At 1 a.m. I wrote, "All clear." At 2 a.m. before getting up, I checked the sheet again. A new entry had appeared. 2:22 a.m., still inside. The time was wrong again. And the wording, "Still inside," that's not something I'd ever write. I checked my phone. 2:01 a.m. I hadn't even left yet. I grabbed the radio and said, "Control, is anyone else inside the building?" Static. Then a voice. My voice. Repeating, "Still inside." I dropped the radio instantly. The voice didn't stop. It kept repeating. Same tone, same exact way I talk. "Still inside, still inside, still inside." I turned the radio off. Silence. After that, things got worse. Every night the log would update before I did anything, predicting movements, but not always correctly. Sometimes, it wrote things I hadn't done yet. Other times, it wrote things I never did at all. One night it said, 3:11 a.m., checked storage aisle 7. I never went there. I avoided aisle 7 completely. Something about it felt wrong. But after reading that, I couldn't ignore it. I went, slowly. Aisle 7 was darker than the others. Even the emergency lights felt dim. Halfway down, I heard movement. Not loud, just something shifting between the shelves. I froze. Then, I heard footsteps. Behind me. I turned around instantly. Nothing. Empty aisle. Then, the radio turned on by itself. And I heard, "You're not where you're supposed to be." I ran back to the office. Didn't look back. Oh, the final night. Everything stopped pretending. At 2 a.m., the log updated again. But this time, the entry was different. 2:30 a.m., exit building. I stared at it. I wasn't planning to leave. I couldn't. But something about it felt final, like it already happened. At 2:27 a.m., I heard the rear door open. Slow, heavy, from inside the building. I hadn't moved. I hadn't unlocked it. Then, footsteps. Walking through the loading dock. Coming closer. I grabbed the log sheet and saw one last line appear, right in front of me. The pen moved, on its own. Writing slowly. 2:31 am, only one of you leaves. I didn't wait. I ran. Straight to the front exit. Didn't stop. Didn't look back. I quit the next day. Didn't explain anything. Didn't go back. A week later, I got a call from the manager. He sounded confused. He said, "Why didn't you log your exit that night?" I told him I did. He paused, then said, "There's only one entry. 2:31 a.m., exit building." I felt my stomach drop, because I didn't write that. Then he said something worse. "The handwriting doesn't match yours." I didn't ask what it looked like. I already knew, because the last thing I heard before I ran was my own voice walking behind me. My neighbor gave me a spare key in case of emergencies. 3 nights later, I heard someone inside his apartment. I live in a small apartment building, only 8 units. Everyone mostly keeps to themselves. The guy next to me, Aaron, was quiet but normal. Before leaving for a week, he knocked on my door and said, "Hey, if you hear anything weird from my place, can you check it?" At the time, it didn't sound strange. Now it does. He left on a Monday morning. I saw him take his suitcase, lock his door, and leave. Everything was normal. The first 2 nights, nothing happened. No sounds, no issues. Then on the 3rd night, around 2:40 a.m., I woke up suddenly. No noise at first, just that feeling, like something wasn't right. Then I heard it, a soft sound, from the other side of my wall. Aaron's apartment. At first I thought it was pipes or something, but then it happened again. A slow, heavy step. I sat up immediately, listened carefully. Another step. Inside his apartment. I checked the time. 2:42 am. There was no way anyone should be in there. I grabbed my phone and texted him. "Hey, are you back?" No reply. I called him. Went straight to voicemail. Meanwhile, the footsteps continued. Slow, dragging slightly, moving from one end of his apartment to the other, then stopping. Right against the wall. The same wall next to my bed. I didn't move, didn't breathe properly. Then, 3 soft knocks. On the wall. From his side, I froze completely. Because no one should be there. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was nothing. Maybe I imagined it, but I still went to check. I stood outside his door, listened. Silence. I used the spare key, unlocked the door, opened it slowly. Inside, everything looked normal. No lights, no movement, no sign of anyone. But something felt off. The air felt heavier, like the apartment had been closed for too long. Then I noticed something small. The bedroom door was open. Aaron always keeps it closed. I remember that clearly. I walked toward it slowly, pushed it open. Inside, nothing. Empty room. But the bed looked disturbed, like someone had been sitting on it recently. I stepped back, locked the door, and went back to my apartment. That night, I stayed awake. Around 2:40 a.m., the sound came back. Footsteps, louder this time, moving faster, back and forth, then stopping suddenly, right outside his bedroom, then running from the bedroom toward the front door, then silence. I checked my phone again. Still no reply from Aaron. That's when I decided to check again. I didn't want to, but I had to. I grabbed the key, walked to his door. My hand was shaking. I unlocked it, opened it. This time, The lights were on. I froze. I never turned them on earlier. I stepped inside slowly. Everything looked the same, except the hallway. The bedroom door was now closed. I stood there for a second. Then, I heard something inside the bedroom. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. I backed away instantly. But before I could leave, the bedroom door started to open. Slowly. I didn't wait. I ran back to my apartment. Locked the door. Didn't sleep. Breaking point. The next morning, I finally got a reply from Aaron. Hey, sorry. No service here. What's up? I called him immediately. Told him everything. He went silent. Then said something that made everything worse. I'm not even in the same city. I asked him if anyone else had a key. He said no. Then he asked, Did you check the bedroom? I told him yes. He paused, then said, Was the closet open? I felt my chest tighten. I didn't check the closet. That night, I didn't want to hear anything. But at 2:40 a.m., the sound came again. But this time, not from his apartment, from mine. I sat up instantly, heart racing. Then, from my hallway, a slow step, dragging slightly, moving toward my bedroom. I grabbed my phone, turned on the flashlight, pointed it at the door, and waited. The footsteps stopped, right outside. Then, a soft knock on my door. 3 times! Exactly the same as before. I didn't move, didn't answer. Then, a voice from the other side. My neighbor's voice, Aaron, saying, Hey, can you check my apartment?